Greetings, colleagues. My name is Dr. Erick Nyoni from the Midlands State University, Zimbabwe, and I am presenting a paper on heritage-based education and what it means to private universities in Zimbabwe. By way of introduction, I want to indicate that Zimbabwe's education system has taken a major paradigm shift from a focus on speaking good English and caps and gowns to heritage-based innovation for rapid socio-economic transformation for the country to achieve a middle-income economy by 2030. Speaking good English and caps and gowns does not increase production in a country, it does not improve innovation, but is that kind of education that trains our learners to be workers and not to be producers. In order for Zimbabwe to realize this vision, the Zimbabwe Council of Higher Education, ZimChe, recommended the establishment of institutional quality assurance standards, the development of curricula, as well as the preparation and amendment of university charters and the statutes to enhance heritage-based education or Education 5.0. Let us now look at the background to the study. Western educational philosophy has impacted theory and practice in education in Africa. In Zimbabwe, the curriculum reform journey is shaped by the weight of cultural technologies of domination employed in the country during British imperial rule that stretched from 1890 to 1980. The inherited education curricula were theoretically and pedagogically disengaged from the life worlds of the learners they intended to educate. The indigenous people were, as of necessity, mandated to adopt the supposedly superior colonial paradigm. Given this background, education in Zimbabwe was reformed to rise from a pulverized existence to focus on heritage-based education with a view to extricating learners from inferiority and galvanize them into self-determination. And this was going to be done through the regulatory authority named as the ZimChe, the Zimbabwe Council for Higher Education. The Zimbabwe Council for Higher Education, as a regulatory board, is mandated to guide higher education in Zimbabwe. And it points out that the immediate must-do for our committed Education 5.0 subscribed state universities is adopting and nurturing a job creator mode mindset, which means lecturers or academics should aim to produce learners who are job creators and not job seekers. It also points out that immediately university should operate in the industry solutions provider mode. Our industry should be assisted in solving problems by the universities. And university councils should participate in dictating funding and incentivizing approaches to Education 5.0. State university councils must also dictate key performance indicators so that lecturers or academics know what to do, and this can actually be manifested in their performance contracts or PCs. Let us now come to the statement of the problem. Private universities that are not 5.0 compliant will not be able to fully participate in the socio-economic development of the country. A literature search indicated a dearth of research on heritage-based education as it relates to private universities, and it is the intention of this study to close that gap. It is the purpose of this study to establish the nature of institutional quality assurance standards, the development of curricula that subscribes to the Education 5.0 philosophy, as well as the preparation and amendment of private university charters and statutes to enhance heritage-based education. 2 research questions were formulated. The first one being, how are private universities aligning themselves for value addition as local industry solution providers? And the second one being, what interventions can be implemented to ensure Zimbabwean private universities are capacitated to subscribe fully to Education 5.0. The transformative continuity theory was adopted for this study. In its original form, it refers to, or it is used in the context of heritage sites. But this study adopts this theory as its principles were viewed to be applicable in this study. What happens is we would start off with the systems that are viewed as intact. For example, the coming of colonization found an intact system, and this system was disturbed. The indigenous people's way of life was disturbed, and there is need for the country, for the indigenous people to discover their heritage, to remember this heritage, and come up with a new system, with a new cultural landscape, which is a result of persistent adaptation and a result of anticipatory and also autonomous adaptations that come as a result of reflection. It is important that we look at what the key aspects of the transformative continuity theory are. This study benefits from an adaptation of transformative continuity, moving away from just a focus on heritage sites for a holistic focus on the tangible and intangible heritage that include flora and fauna, water, minerals, and human resources. As earlier stated, heritage is the full range of our inherited traditions, the monuments, the objects, and culture. Most important, it is the range of contemporary activities, meanings, and behaviors that we draw from them. In the context of Zimbabwe, heritage-based education, therefore, comes as a contemporary activity, meaning, and behavior that draws from its tangible and intangible resources as it is conceptualized and translated into Education 5.0. The key elements of transformative continuity are discovering our heritage, remembering our lived experiences that relate to this heritage, and enabling ongoing reflection as we reflect on how best we can improve our lives through the manipulation of our heritage. This study used a multiple site case study design, which enabled us to capture rich descriptive data on heritage-based education and what it means to private universities in Zimbabwe, as indicated by Cresswell, who states that case study design is a powerful instrument which provides for an in-depth investigation of a phenomena. Among several methods applicable, we selected a Google Forms questionnaire requiring participants to freely complete it online, explaining their views robustly and representing their thoughts through intense and deep explanations. A Google Forms questionnaire is a method in which people are able to express their feelings and their thoughts about an issue in a relaxed atmosphere. In our case, it is a small group of participants conveniently selected that we emailed the questionnaire to in order to generate data. Google Forms have the advantage that participants freely contribute their ideas in a non-threatening environment. The participants are selected based on the fact that they have something in common in relation to the topic, hence their interpretations of the topic would be both deep and contextual. Let us come now to the findings and discussions. We identified two themes, and under these two themes there are sub-themes. Let me start off with theme 1, which makes reference to private universities' alignment for value addition as local industry solution providers. The first sub-theme under this theme is performance contracts. Despite the fact that PCs or performance contracts are meant to indicate the year's objectives and work to be done or achieved by employees, in our case lecturers, it seems that the lecturers are not including any reference to heritage-based education, which is an indicator of a 5.0 compliant lecturer. That is, they are not indicating this in their PCs. In this study, we observe that not much emphasis on heritage-based education is done during the completion of yearly PCs or performance contracts, which should be key indicators in the realization of teaching, researching, university service, innovation, and industrialization, which are the 5 pillars of heritage-based education philosophy. If PCs are silent, that implies little or no reference will be done to heritage-based education 5.0. There will be very little in terms of discovering, remembering, reflecting of our heritage, and there will be constrained adaptation, whether persistent, anticipatory, or autonomous, as encapsulated in the transformative continuity theory. Given this scenario, our hope for achieving a middle-income economy will not be achieved through our education system, and universities are not going to be aligned for value addition as local industry solution providers. 0. Theme number 2 is on interventions that can be implemented to ensure that Zimbabwean private universities are capacitated to subscribe fully to Education 5.0. Sub-theme 1, resource management and lecture fatigue. We note that lecturers are fatigued and not motivated due to a lack of appropriate remuneration. Education 5.0 seems additional work to the already existing Education 3.0, which focuses on teaching, research, and community engagement or community service. Based on these findings, which are quantitatively difficult to generalize, thinly pointing to an atmosphere of low morale for research and article writing, with still innovative and industrialized based forms of research among lecturers, hence low in buying in of heritage-based education 5.0. Sub-theme number 2, history, the culture, and the futures. We draw from our culture. Our present culture can point us into the future. Heritage is a full range of our inherited traditions, monuments, objects, culture. It includes much more than preserving, excavating, displaying, or restoring collection of things. It is both tangible and intangible in the sense that ideas and memories of songs, recipes, language, dances, and many other elements of who we are and how we identify ourselves are as important as historical buildings and archaeological sites. We now draw conclusions and recommendations. Drawing from our theoretical framework, transformative continuity that focuses on discovering a future system from reflecting on the disturbed system to achieve an intact future system. Zimbabwe is a disturbed economic system. We export raw materials, we import food, our technology is in a demise state. There is little or no beneficiation through exportation of raw materials or minerals. There is a strong need for restoration for the future. Private universities require a strong institutional quality standards creation and control, where curriculum is developed towards artifactual design and futures. The private universities complementing public universities need to focus on the production of goods and services for the transformation of the economy. We are in need of autonomous adaptation according to the model, pointing to future systems where innovation and industrialization are key. Although private universities are noted to be on a slow trajectory towards heritage-based education 5.0, they have a great potential and opportunity for discovery with anticipatory and autonomous adaptation to promote transformational learning that leads to the production of goods and services by enabling ongoing reflection or remembering of the lived experiences and the relationships to the natural and cultural heritage. We have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.